Hello everyone, warm welcome to Business Live. Coming up, Bank of Ghana reviews liquidity requirements for commercial banks as cedi's depreciation hits hard at their operations. Also, US-based finance professor predicts mixed development for Ghana following an increase in the US rate to 3.75% by the Federal Reserve. Plus, poultry farmers predict the cost of full chicken to hit between 150 and 200 cedis during the festive season.
Of the raw material that we are using, because they are imported, and as a result of the unstable forest also affect it. So that is one of the major reasons.
We've got details of these and many more in a moment. Please stay. Welcome back. I am Pious Kojo Backah. A look at our stories now. The Bank of Ghana has taken some extra measures to help improve liquidity for commercial banks in the country. The move has been influenced by how the cedi's depreciation is impacting negatively on the lending operations of banks. My colleague JoyNews has more.
One of the measures that has been reviewed is the amount that commercial banks can hold at the Bank of Ghana for every cedi and dollar collected as deposits. The banks were initially required to provide cover depending on the currency that they had mobilized, but they argued that looking at the current pressure on the Ghana cedi, it will be prudent for this measure to be reviewed, a call that was answered by the regulator. The action is expected to improve the liquidity position of banks, a move that is expected to impact on their lending operations. Commercial banks had argued that the previous restrictions was really impacting negatively on their business, a move that is also expected to impact on their ability to lend to businesses and support other banking operations. The Bank of Ghana believes this review may help deal with credit extension pressures on most of the commercial banks in the country. But for some, making more money available to these banks to aid their operations, what could be the impact of inflation going forward, and whether the Bank of Ghana may have to come in again to try and stabilize the situation.
Now, US-based finance professor at Andrews University, Pious, is predicting a mixed development for the country as a result of the increase in the US interest rate to 3.75%. The Federal Reserve yesterday increased the benchmark rate to its highest in 14 years. According to him, the increase in interest rates would make investing in the US economy better than Ghana, leading to capital flight and a stronger dollar. Dr. Pious joins us via Zoom for more. Grateful, Professor, I should say, for joining us on the program. When you say the increase in interest rate would make investing in the US economy better than Ghana, exactly how do you mean? Kindly unmute for me, Prof.
Okay, good evening at your end. I'm grateful to be on your news this evening. So currently what is happening in the US is not different from what is happening in Ghana. US is also experiencing inflation hikes. The Fed anticipated that inflation should be around 2%, but currently it's about 8.25%. So the way they want to address it is also increase the Fed interest rate, what Ghana we call it the monetary policy rate. So anytime the Fed increase their rates, what it means is that like something like fixed incomes, in Ghana what we call treasury bills, in US also fixed incomes and treasury bills will all become attractive in terms of giving more returns. So by so doing, investors will have the option of investing in the US market where they are sure of getting a higher returns than to bring their money into Ghana where they are also uncertain about even the availability of foreign currencies when they need their monies to be sent back to wherever they got it from. So let's say if I bring $100,000 from US to Ghana, and finally I want the same $100,000, based on the situation in Ghana, I will not get $100,000, I'll be getting about $90,000 because the cedi has really devalued. By so doing, investors who are in the Ghana bonds market also investing in Ghana instruments in Ghana will want to send their money out of the country into the US to come and invest. So this is what is currently happening.
All right.
And
So,
the implication is that the cedi is going to devalue more because the US currency is becoming stronger by the day.
all right. So, in this instance, what would you say should managers of the economy do at this critical moment? Because when we talk about export, we actually not doing better.
I mean, so anytime your currency devalues, like what is happening in Ghana, it makes cheaper your products to other parts of the world. So, for example, in the US, yam is now becoming one of the commodities that a lot of people are now patronizing. I know that in Ghana, yam is a crop, one of the food crops that we can export into the United States. Can Ghana, the government, be intentional assisting Ghanaians to export yam into the United States? You'll be surprised that you just buy here is by weight, so less than a kilo, you buy like around almost $10. And in Ghana, the same type of tuber of yam, you get it around, say, 25 Ghana cedis. So the government must be intentional in making sure that some agricultural products are exported out of the country and not agricultural product per se. If you're able to strengthen our manufacturing processes, Ghana becomes cheaper to export things out of the country. This is the only way to make sure that we get back the foreign currencies we are losing. So the focus should be on export and make sure that the government addresses that. I know at this particular moment there is this kind of confusion in terms of the issue of the fuel prices and the rest, but someone should have an eye on the export to promote export now, and this can also help the country getting foreign currency.
I guess the Ghana Investment Promotion Center has an Herculean task to perform. Won't you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I agree with you perfectly. So the focus should not only be what is currently happening. As we are crying of the devaluation of the cedi, the opportunity is also for us to export. So the Ghana Export Promotion Center, the Customs and Exercise Division, all of them should be interested in enhancing the export of our product, how they call it, the non-traditional exports out of the country. And this is in turn will bring in foreign currencies to Ghana. So someone must also be talking about exporting now, and this will help stabilize the devaluation of the cedi.
All right. Grateful, Prof, for your input this evening. William Sprifra is a US-based finance professor at Andrews University, speaking to us there. Let's move away from that and touch on the story. Among the 35 companies listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange in 2022, women hold 25% of the board seats and 27% of the non-executive director seats, which is not different from what pertained in 2021. Well, this is contained in the 2022 Board Diversity Index report released by the Boardroom Africa in partnership with the Ghana Stock Exchange. According to the report, the figures indicate that progress towards gender diversity has stalled since last year. Ayomide Aburuwa is the programs manager for the Boardroom Africa and has been speaking to my colleague Darrell Kwao on the marketplace.
We look at the females that are in the corporate secretary roles. Also, corporate secretaries can form as a pipeline to potential director roles. So it also could be inferred that, this pipeline is not being effectively used in terms of progress for board diversity.
I mean, you talk about the fact that boards must be refreshed. What can be done to bridge the gender gap on boards?
Yes, I think the most important point is understanding that there's actually a problem and recognizing that something has to be done. And this recognition should influence a decision to act. So that decision can then cut to, companies instituting policies that ensure that, there is a mandate for, X percent or 30%, which is actually the international standard, 30% of women on our boards. Additionally, at the Boardroom Africa, we have our Board Diversity Charter, which is an initiative that calls on organizations to sign on to signal their commitment towards board diversity. Board diversity is typically seen as a checklist exercise, i.e., we have women on our boards and that's the end. But we want to ensure that progress is continued. So by signing on that charter, it's companies committing towards doing something to ensure that they're working at their gender diversity makeup.
You're still watching Business Life with me, Pious Kojo Backah. Still to come, poultry farmers predict the cost of a full chicken to hit between 150 and 200 cedis during the festive season. Welcome back. This is still Business Life with me, Pious Kojo Backah. To one of our headline stories, and poultry farmers are predicting the cost of a full chicken to hit between 150 cedis and 200 cedis during the festive season. According to them, prices of feed for their poultry have doubled in the last few months as a result of the cedi depreciation and high cost of import of other farm input. Greater Accra President of the Ghana Poultry Association, Isaac Awuza, spoke on the marketplace.
Soya bean made at beginning of the year, we're buying it at 200 Ghana cedi. Now, as I'm talking to you, it's over 600 Ghana cedi per 50 kg bag. And you buy it today, tomorrow, by the time you go back, the price has changed. So a lot of the raw material that we are using, because they are imported, and as a result of the unstable forest also affected. So that is one of the major reasons. Another major thing that is affecting us is the unavailability of maize. Fortunately for us, this year we couldn't get, much harvest. And as a result of that, the maize even is not available for you to buy in order to produce the feed. And the feed prices, I can tell you, has quadrupled. And majority of our farmers have decided to fold up or even to reduce the number of birds that they are having. And this is what is really affecting the poultry industry.
I know you guys are struggling a lot. Plus, you have to compete with imports, right?
That is true. Currently, the local industry is taking just about 2%. And even this 2% is even being threatened. And about 98% of imported chicken is being brought into the country, and this is really affecting the local poultry industry. And the earlier the government come to the aid of the poultry industry, especially Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, the better for the poultry industry, because of the importation of this frozen chicken into the country. It seems there's no help, there's no assistance for the local poultry industry, and this is also really affecting us. Very much in the poultry industry.
I guess for we, the chicken lovers, we've got to strategize and budget well. All right, so the National Petroleum Authority has defended the recent hikes in the prices of petroleum products at the pumps. According to the authority, the unstable foreign exchange market makes it difficult for importers to get products. Head of Communications at the NPA, Mohammed Kudus, tells Joy Business that there was an unexpected situation which caused the increment before the normal pricing window.
I'm allowed to borrow the expression of the president when he said that we are in crisis. It means that we are not in normal times. Similar with our industry, we are not in normal times. Critical things that determine the price of the product, okay, is the forex, the cost of the dollar, and the cost of the product on the international market. Unexpectedly, and something we've not seen for a long while, the cedi kept changing within the week. Okay, the reason that we are able to do the 2 weeks window is because of the stability that we have in the market. So it allows you a certain predictability. So you know that the cedi will remain stable. Even if it was going to erode or gain, it will be a little marginal. But in this particular case, you realize that we're having a cedi that we started around 6 the beginning of the year, was close to almost 15 somewhere last week. And to where you have within a spate of, let's say, a week, the cedi is losing its value against the dollar. What it means is that it is going to be eroding the gains and capital of the marketers, okay? And given that it determines the price and how the final price is arrived at, and that is basically what we do at MPA. We try to see what is it that has informed your price. And so, knowing what was happening in the market, we felt that it was nothing untoward. So it is not as though the window has been suspended. No, the window still remains. The principle still remains. But we're being sensitive to the practicality of the day, the real issue that has confronted the marketer, so that you allow the marketer to be able to still be in business, so the marketer can still bring the product into the market and the consumers can still get the product.
Moving on to some other stories, the Ghana Enterprises Agency is targeting to train about 3,000 youth in the Upper East region and guide them to become successful entrepreneurs between now and the year 2024. Through the Youth Start initiatives, the agency hopes to train the youth in various job models and support them with grants to start and grow their own businesses. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
The Youth Start initiative is being implemented by the Ghana Enterprises Agency under the Ghana Jobs and Skills Project. The project runs from now to the year 2024. Funded by the World Bank, Youth Start aims to support skills development and job creation in Ghana and will provide entrepreneurship training to 50,000 youth across the country. 3 levels of entrepreneurship training will be offered: the basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. Participants who reach the advanced stage will then be given mentoring and coaching support, which includes guidance to prepare business plans, meet business registration and licensing requirements, and connect with input and output markets. At a program to give orientation about the Youth Start initiative to some youth in Bolgatanga, the Upper East Regional Director of the Ghana Enterprises Agency, Bukari Mohammed, said at least 3,000 youth of the region stand the chance of benefiting from the initiative.
First of all, you must be a Ghanaian. If you're a Ghanaian, you are qualified to apply. But we also narrow it down to Ghanaians who fall within the age of 18 years to 40. The problem that we are facing currently in Ghana is youth unemployment. You see, so this program is tailored towards addressing youth unemployment in Ghana. If you're a school dropout, but you have a small business that you are already managing, you can apply to benefit from this program. People with disability can apply for this program. And the minimum qualification, education that you should have to benefit from this program is BC.
He said grants will be available to support selected youth who successfully undergo the training up to the intermediate level.
You have to go through a series of trainings. We have modules that you go through. We do the screening. So if you are able to go through the processes and you are screened to benefit from the grant, then that is, you are qualified to apply for the grant. But if you don't go through these processes, the grant does not stand alone for you to just go and apply and pick grants. You must go through these models and qualify before you can receive the grant support. And you know, grants, normally you don't pay back. But we have to ensure that you use the grant for the purpose it is intended to do.
Some of the aspiring entrepreneurs who attended the orientation said they have high hopes of achieving their dreams through the Youth Start initiative.
Most of persons with disability, this program will help us in a way. For us to find a job is very difficult. We are working hard, but our business are not going further because marketing it's not good.
I'm doing smoke business, retail. I buy the smokes here and I sell it. I go down south and I sell it. This program, actually, if they meant what they are saying and they're able to support us with little funding, it will boost our businesses. At least if you have enough money, you'll be able to buy, getting to 30, 40 smokes, and then you send it. Looking at the cost and transportation.
A fashion designer based in Bulga Upper East. I think this fund or this grant will go a long way to help apprentices or graduates who want to establish their own business. They are talking of equipment. So if I have my facility and I need equipment to improve on my business, this is what will help my business.
For JoyNews, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
And that's our program for tonight. I am Pious Kojo Backah. For more news, kindly log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Grateful serving you.